What's up, everybody? Welcome to the What's on Disney Plus podcast. In this episode, we're going to be talking about Thanksgiving. It's Thanksgiving this week in the US. So I thought I did a little article on the website going through some of the shows that I think should be coming to Disney Plus next year, and also just quickly running through some of the big news from this week. So before we do that, let's jump into a little bit of housekeeping. Make sure you subscribe to the podcast and check us out on our YouTube channel, and go check us out on whatsondisneyplus.com and subscribe to all the different social media to keep up with it. So let's first off start with the news of the week. There's a bit of a news roundup. First off, for Star Wars Mandalorian, they've kind of announced that Gina Carano is joining the show. She was one of the main characters in Deadpool. She was I thought she was great in that. She's been an MMA fighter. She's also been in American Gladiators. And also they've been announced that apparently, was it Pedro Pascal is in negotiations to play the lead role. He was in Narcos and Game of Thrones. So the show seems to be coming together from that point of view. And any thoughts on those castings?
Both excellent casting choices. She was the villain, one of the villains in Deadpool. I haven't seen her in anything outside of that, but she was very good in that. Obviously, she didn't have too many lines, so we can't gauge 100%, but I'm absolutely down with that. I hope that she'll, either be a Mandalorian herself or maybe one of the main antagonists. That'd be kind of fun. And then Pedro Pascal, he was fantastic in Game of Thrones. He had one of the most notable death sequences in that show, which is saying quite a bit for that show. Yeah. And then he was also pretty good in Kingsman Golden Circle, which was a fun action movie. So we know he can do action. We know he can act. Honestly, I think if I was going to do a Mandalorian show, he's definitely someone I'd be looking at to do it. So I hope that it goes through. I think that these are both excellent choices.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not really familiar with his work. I dropped out of Game of Thrones too early, and I think Narcos, we only did one episode. Again, it's that kind of thing of it just didn't catch us. So this guy is kind of a bit of an unknown for me. Also, just a quick note as well. There was kind of Diego Luna did a show last weekend when he was talking about Star Wars and stuff, and he slightly hinted on the fact that they might be digitally making him look younger in this new series based on him on Disney Plus. I think obviously because it's set before Rogue One and years have passed, they might be tweaking it so he looks a little bit younger in the series, which it makes sense. And I think what they've been doing with Amma, I don't think they need to go to that extent, but maybe they just need to make him do something with his skin or something to make it look a little bit younger. So that was, again, after the big announcements of last week where we had Disney Plus announced, this week was a few little bits, pieces. I think we're going to, it's going to be probably quite quiet for the foreseeable future of just little bits and pieces coming through. At the minute, I'm just kind of going through and looking back at all the previous stories and just bringing them up to date and find out what's going on with them. But yeah, it's just mainly just been about the Star Wars shows. Everything's been, a lot of the press this week has been about the competition for Netflix. I think it's a lot of articles and column pieces about how Netflix is going to have to deal with Disney Plus and all the other different streaming services. That's kind of been the main genre thing about going around the internet this week, is about how Disney Plus, and we'll be talking about that in the future coming up. But for the sake of this episode, it's Thanksgiving this week, and I thought I'm going to do an article up on the website looking at what Thanksgiving specials and movies need to be on Disney Plus next year, because we've got a whole year before it will be around. I didn't realize how few Disney stuff have made on Thanksgiving. I thought you guys love Thanksgiving, and it was I was really having to scrape the barrel to make this list together.
It is true. We Americans, we love our Thanksgiving, but it hasn't translated to movies. Black Friday is one of the biggest movie days of the year. Disney almost always has something out that week. I think Wreck-It Ralph is out this year. And I know I went and saw Coco with my youngest sister when when we were together for Thanksgiving at our grandparents' place. So yeah, but there's no like specific Thanksgiving movies other than say Charlie Brown, which isn't Disney, of course. It's not really a thing, and I think that's largely because, unlike say, The Miracle of Christmas or a Valentine's Day rom-com or something like that, Thanksgiving doesn't really lend itself to it. A Hallmark movie channel might have some because that's just their bread and butter, family gatherings, etc. But when you get down to it, there aren't any classic stories around around Thanksgiving other than the Thanksgiving story, which is of course the Native Americans coming and helping the Pilgrims survive that winter, bringing food and having this big meal together. And so the only story you can really tell around that is Squanto, maybe that's the familiar name. So
yeah, well, that one is actually one of the ones I put up because I didn't know this movie existed. And I found it actually on Disney Life, on the UK streaming service. I was flicking through, looking to see what was on, and I saw this one, and it's kind of one of those things of, I didn't know this movie existed. It's quite old. I think it was like 94 or 96, so it's quite an old one. But this is the advantage of these streaming services, because you can push forward an old movie and give it like new life. Because every Thanksgiving, this movie is going to get a little bit of an upbeat from, because it's not really on any other streaming platforms and it's a bit of an unknown one. But that movie definitely sort of stands out as a benefit of Disney Plus, of having, I'm hoping that this one will be on there so people can see this. I didn't know about it. It was a bit of an unknown one, but it was definitely an interesting choice. And it was definitely the one that stood out the most from the Disney side of things.
Right. And once you get past that, as long as you're not counting Charlie Brown, you're kind of done. I mean, the closest thing that Disney has other than that is Pocahontas, and that's simply because it's a movie about a Native American. Has nothing to do with Thanksgiving at all.
No, but it's quite a bit of research into like Pocahontas and stuff, of like how apparently it takes the actual events of what happens in Pocahontas take place about 10 to 20 years before Thanksgiving. So like for me, I liked Pocahontas because of that storyline of that period. And I think it is good that people like Pocahontas comes up quite a bit as a Thanksgiving movie, because it helps tell the story of what was going on then and about what happened when they came to when the English came to the country, and what happened there. And I think it's important that maybe kids and families like remember that kind of thing. I think the trouble is what's happened with Thanksgiving is it's more about watching big epic movies or getting ready for Christmas, because that was the other big thing from the movies, was things like Miracle on 34th Street, which is a Fox movie. I'm guessing that we are going to see some Fox content on Disney Plus that is very family friendly, things like Ice Age and Miracle on 34th Street, which starts with the parade in New York. So that kind of ties in nicely with that things. So I wouldn't be surprised if we see a little bit more of that. Yeah,
and that's really the closest you're going to get, is that Thanksgiving is generally considered by most Americans, the start of the Christmas season. Most people probably don't even let it really start until December, but Thanksgiving is normally the point where people are like, okay, you can start putting up the wreaths and the tinsel and stuff like that. Retail stores, of course, have had them up since October at this point, but we kind of roll our eyes at them and just like that. But most people see, rather than Thanksgiving being its own thing, it's kind of the start of the festive season. So you could kind of squeak maybe less traditional Christmas movies in, like you wouldn't do the Santa Claus or something like that, or even Nightmare Before Christmas. You would do something like Miracle on 34th Street, or maybe even like Elf. I mean, I know that that's not part of the Disney lineup, but that kind of movie where you're starting to transition into the Christmas spirit.
Yeah, I mean, there's lots of television specials, things like Doug, Simpsons,
plenty of specials,
like Modern Family, things like that. It's going to be interesting to see where they go with bringing ABC content and Fox content into Disney Plus. Now, they say it's going to be family orientated. I can't help but feel like they are going to cherry pick some of the best bits. They can put it on Hulu and they can put it on. It's like some of this stuff makes sense to put it out to the family. Things like Miracle on 34th Street. It makes sense for them to have these movies in there, and kind of things like Ice Age and stuff like that. There's lots of other bits and pieces around, but I was really surprised at how few, it's like all the holiday specials on ABC and stuff. It definitely feels like everything pushes towards Christmas. So it was very odd. I don't know why, I always assumed that there was a lot more out there, because obviously here in the UK, we don't celebrate it. We only see Thanksgiving through movies and television specials. So it's that kind of thing of, it's like I said, I just assumed. There was one movie that did jump out, was I think it was Freebirds, which isn't technically a 21st Century Fox movie, but they distributed it so it's like they probably don't have the rights to it. But it was a kind of odd one, really. I really was expecting more, but this is where, this time next year when we've got Disney Plus, I can easily see Disney pushing. Maybe they'll be throwing in a few Christmas movies as well, but I guess next year when we kind of relook at this about saying what to watch this Thanksgiving, this will be I'm hoping a few of these are going to be on there.
Yeah, and like I said, we don't have Thanksgiving options for movies, so yeah, that's more what I would expect, the ones that you're talking about. And it's kind of interesting, and I've been thinking about this while you were talking. The idea of Thanksgiving is very much the same, the idea of Christmas. It's a family get-together. But whereas Christmas is supposed to be the wholesome come together, even if we've had a bad year or we're arguing, the Christmas spirit brings us together and we kind of have a happy, Christmas. At least that's the way the movies sell it. Thanksgiving is typically more of the, oh man, I'm going to have to hang out with my uncle who gets drunk and says those really un-PC things to everybody. And it's going to just be an awful, awful thing with lots and lots of food. So they're both family events, but one of them traditionally, obviously I'm not speaking for every American, everyone's going to have their own experience, but traditionally when we kind of stereotype these, Thanksgiving is that one that you're like, I'm dealing with the family members that I don't really, I'm doing this because I have to do it for family, whereas Christmas is we're going to come together as a family thing. So it's got that more wholesome vibe. So, someone needs to get on this, though. Someone needs a Thanksgiving movie, because there is very much an opening in the market right now. There is literally a Charlie Brown Christmas. That is literally the only Thanksgiving movie, other than maybe a historical movie about the first Thanksgiving, about Plymouth Plantation or about Squanto or the Native Americans and all that stuff. But yeah, there's no wholesome bring the family together for Thanksgiving kind of movie.
Hopefully, like Disney Plus, maybe look at this and go, there's a window of opportunity here for a straight to Disney streaming service movie. We've got Noel, that's going to be out probably this time next year. We've got that it's a new Christmas movie with Anna Kendrick that got pushed back for Disney Plus. So it wouldn't surprise me to start doing it, but I'm guessing we're going to see lots of specials from like the Disney Channel and ABC and kind of incorporating that. It'd be nice to sort of see them incorporate this a little bit more. They've got a while to work on it. It just happens to be that Disney Plus obviously announced this month, and we're straight into Thanksgiving. It's just a really odd one. It's a good time, I think, for next year when Disney Plus is around, that I'm sure there's going to be a lot of big movies like Frozen and things like Toy Story and what I would call more family movies, the big epics, are where people's going to want to sit down and watch those. And like you said, get into the Christmas spirit. Those are going to be the big movies of next year. But it was just really odd. I wasn't expecting when I sort of sat down and thought, right, we'll do this and then we'll do a podcast on that one. I was like, I didn't expect there to be so little as there was. It really surprised me.
You know what? All right, Disney, I'll give you this one for free. Home on the Range Thanksgiving special next year. Let's do this.
Yeah. Or chicken, some turkey's trying to get away with it or something like that. You know, it's something simple, and maybe even just retelling the story. That would be a good, you know, maybe do it as a, like you say, like the Hallmark kind of style. Could be a good way of doing it, but it's just that kind of weird thing. But we'd love to know what do you guys watch Thanksgiving, and what movies are you hoping are going to be on Disney Plus from those, because that's the big thing. You know, those big movies are going to be there next year, things like Frozen, Santa Claus, etc., things like that. Or you can watch Star Wars. You know, that's always a good Christmas movie. But I'd love to know what you guys think. Remember to go check us out over at whatsondisneyplus.com, and remember you can like, subscribe, etc., and all of that. Spread the word. We're very much in the early things at the minute, so every little share and everything like that really does make a big difference to us here. James, where can they find you?
Find me heroiclegacy.com.
All right, guys, thank you very much for joining us. We'll be back soon. Later.